Hello, online crew. It's so awesome to be here with you today. I miss it when I have a couple of days off from going live, and I always love this particular live because it's my first live of the week. And what I concentrate on this live is something to get you thinking, something to do with personal development, personal growth, something to get your brain ticking over regarding how you're moving through life, how you can be a better version of yourself, which will equate to having a more successful business. And today is no different. So what I'm talking about today is a skill that hopefully you possess. Some of you may do this really well, and some of you may do this really, really badly. And it's a skill that I've had to learn to do, and I don't always do it that well. But this will solve a lot of problems for you if you've got this on your radar, if you've got this on your front of mind, to increase this particular skill, which I'm going to talk about today. Okay, this really gets up my nose or my goat, whatever you want to call it. But I'll get onto that shortly. So I hope you're all doing really well. So if you're not familiar with me and we've not met before, my name is Helen Martin and I'm your online crew captain. So what we do here is talk about online strategy. So we're a community of entrepreneurs, home-based business owners, direct sellers, those in MLM, spit it out, network marketing, and we are learning to leverage social media to build our businesses online. So what can you do to build a brand and really leverage this amazing tool called the internet and social media to build fans, followers, and truly attract people to you and ask what it is that you have? The last thing that any of us want to do in social media is just turn up and expect people to come, because it doesn't happen like that. You have to earn the right for people to follow you and become fans of yours. And we don't want to spam people on social media either. We want people to come to their own conclusion that they want what you have. And what you do on social media will make a massive difference as to whether you can achieve that or not for yourself. So for example, starting tomorrow for the next 3 days, for a couple of hours each day, I'm doing a Boost Your Business Page Bootcamp. So if you've got a business page that needs fans, that needs followers, you need to increase your organic reach, you need to increase engagement and interaction, then join us in our coaching community for that bootcamp for the next 3 days. As a bonus, you actually get access to all my other boot camps when you access that boot camp. The link is up above. So those are the kind of things that are going to make the difference between you making it on social media or just showing up and expecting people to find you. Okay, it all makes a sort of a massive difference. So we have an amazing community here. Let's say hello to some people. I'm broadcasting in 2 places, on my business page and my free group at the same time. So some of you may be watching from my business page, which is Helen Martin. Some of you may be watching from my free group, which is called Social Media Strategies for Home Business Owners. If you are in my free group, you do have to give this little piece of software that I'm using called StreamYard permission for me to see your profile. So some of your comments may come up and I won't be able to see who it is. And if that's the case, you just need to click the very bottom link to this live that says streamyard.com/Facebook. You won't see that link if you're on my business page though. Hello, Michael. How are you? Good to see you on. High five, Michael. Michael is a life member in our coaching community, and that's the anchor. The fish is for our free group. The cruise ship is for those of you in my coaching community. Where are you guys? Show me the cruise ship. And the palm tree is our mascot for our community here. So we just have a little fun with emojis. Cynthia is a life member of our online crew coaching community. We've got Patricia. How are you? Laurie is in the house. Laurie is a life member as well. How are you, Laurie? So this is what I'm talking about. So if this is how you appear and you know this is you, then you just need to click on the very bottom link from the group, because that's where you're watching from, and give permission from StreamYard for me to see who you're on. So hello, happy Monday from Tallahassee. Is that how you pronounce it? Kind of. Hello, Edith. How are you? Good to see you on. We've got Heather. Welcome, Heather. Hello, Bridget. Lovely to see you here. Gloria, we can actually see Gloria's profile, which is pretty cool. Gloria was having a big struggle with us seeing her profile. Hello, Teresa. We got Heather. Teresa and Heather are both life members as well. So is Shauna. Good to see you here. Another one here, Facebook user. So just click on that bottom link above. So excited for the boot camp. I've got so many different things to share with you and to get through. Like, lots of cool information for you. Hello, Judy and Bob from Alter Your Course. Oh, and Henry. Henry's my little fish here. If you didn't know that, he's my little bot that I plug in every now and again. And I had the beautiful, wonderful pleasure of meeting Judy and Bob in person last night. They don't live that far away from me. They're only an hour away from me. So I went up to the city last night and we met up, which was pretty special. We had lots of laughs. It was pretty cool. Hi, Jade. How are you? Hello, Patricia. I need to learn all the skills to get better. Awesome. So we're going to hone in on one of those skills. Hello, Monica. Hello, Hayley from the UK. Michael's saying hello to Judy and Bob. Edith is a live member. We've got Janice on as well. Hello, Tina. The list goes on. So thank you for joining me, guys. Good to see you all here. So let me get into the content. And this is going to seem simple on the surface of it, but I want you to hang in there with me because I want to give you some examples of this and I guess hone in on your responsibility to get better at this skill for yourself. So the skill that I'm talking about, which can solve a lot of your problems if you use it in the right way, because you can definitely use it in the wrong way, is communication. So hang in there with me and let me explain this to you. How many of you expect somebody to know what's going on with you, or you get shitty at somebody for something that they've done or they haven't done, and they don't even know that they have or haven't done the thing that they've done? No one can read your mind. No one knows what's going on in your head. No one knows what you're struggling with or what your issues are or what you need to resolve unless you tell them. But you want to use communication in a way to problem solve and communicate, not play the victim with communication. So you can over communicate and complain and complain and complain and complain and complain about life and complain about this and over communicate all of that. That is not communication skills. That's just oversharing for a very indulgent way. Okay? Communication can solve a lot of problems for you. What are you struggling with? Who have you got issues with? If you've got issues with somebody, let them know and sort it out. I've got some friends of mine that apparently get shitty with me for things that I haven't done, but I've got no idea because they don't communicate it with me because they've got their own issues that they conjure up. But unless they communicate that with me, vice versa, like, do you have this with your husbands, your wives, things like that? Like I was talking to Judy and Bob last night about this, and you'll appreciate this kind of example. So with my husband, Paul, his name is Paul, if you don't know, like this is me, guys. So I'll cook dinner. Okay, just one example. I'll cook dinner. But because I want the kitchen cleaned up straight away, because that's just the kind of person that I am, I can't stand dishes being left for hours on end in the sink and around, then I'll cook dinner, but then I'll want it cleaned up afterwards. So what I used to do is, I'd wait a little while, and if Paul didn't jump in and do it, I'd do it. And then I'd get shitty at him for not doing it. And then, like, I'm huffing and puffing around and whatever, and he's like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm sick of doing the cooking, and then I'm going to do all the cleaning. I was like, honey, all you have to do is ask. Like, just ask. And he's like, your problem is you can't stand a messy kitchen for longer than, like, half an hour or something. So I'm creating this big issue. I'm putting stress on myself. I'm creating issues with my husband, so it's not really an issue. And I never said, can you do the dishes? And he'll go, yeah, sure. So I can ask him to do it, but he'll just do it in his time. And that's okay. Like, what's the problem? But you can create a lot of stress from yourself with human beings, husbands, wives, friends, business partners, uplines, family, brothers, sisters, parents, children, because you don't communicate what it is that you are thinking or feeling or what's going on for you. So sometimes when we just open our mouths and say, look, this is what I'm thinking, or I'm sure this is not the intention, but what you did yesterday actually made me feel like this, like, can I just talk about that with you? And the person might go, oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea that that's how you sort of took that. And the best way to communicate is through talking. Text messages, Messenger has got a lot to answer for our lack of communication. Do you agree, guys? Do you read something and take it in a way it wasn't intended? Or have you ever written something in a way that it wasn't intended? It's one of the biggest issues in communication is people aren't talking anymore. People are shooting off messages that they would never say to somebody in person. So my recommendation there for you is 3 things around this. 1, at the very least, voice message someone rather than type something. If it's something that has some emotion around it and it's just not a matter of a fact or arranging something or something like that. If it's something with emotion around it, or something's wrong, or not feeling good about something, or you've got an issue with something, don't use text. At very minimum, voice message. But I would highly encourage you to pick up the bloody phone and talk to somebody in person. And the other thing around this, the 3rd thing, is please teach your children and your grandchildren to continue to communicate, because they are losing the ability to communicate. The divorce rates are going to be so high in years to come because people are losing the ability to communicate. Do you still have issues with somebody in your life? A friend, a parent, a brother, a sister, an ex or something like that? Like, there's still an issue that you've got with somebody that you could clear it up through trying to have a conversation. And if it doesn't happen, then that's on them, not on you. But the other side of this is if you don't want to over communicate and not take responsibility for how you're feeling. So how you communicate, it's not only communicating, it's how you communicate as a human being. Don't make your problems everybody else's problems. Look for solutions in your communication. Don't continually vent or just have big problems with life and the world and just tell everybody about it. Use communication in a way that can help you solve your problems, whatever they are. If you've got issues with people or your business is not doing what it's doing, who can you communicate with to help? So who can help you with that? And communicate with them. And if you're, even dealing with a mentor or an upline or a business partner or something like that, and you're looking for their help, try to help yourself first. Don't always reach out to somebody and say, I need the answer to this or I need the answer to that. It's like, I've researched this a little bit. This is what I found. What are you thinking? Like, take responsibility for what it is you're feeling or your lack of knowledge or your lack of skill, and find out ways to solve your problems rather than pushing your problems on other people. So there's a responsibility that comes with communication. Does that make sense as to what I'm trying to get across there, guys? Communication can be used not in an effective way. Communication can be used in a way that is hurtful, or someone's playing the victim card, like all those kind of things. So communication can be used in a really ineffective way with some people. But just remember, nobody makes you feel a certain way. You make yourself feel a certain way. So let's say somebody's listening here that maybe you got a massive issue with me for something, and like in the comments section here, somebody says, you're awful, you don't know what you're talking about, or something like that. So somebody's being nasty to me. I choose what I do with that. So if that hurts me and I cry and I crawl in a ball and I let that affect me, it's because I've chosen to. Or I can choose to go, well, that's their problem. I know I'm a good person. I know I give lots of value. I know I overshare and overgive and, you know, give more than I ever ask for in return. Like, I know who I am and what I stand for. So that's just their issue. I choose what I do with that scenario. Does that make sense to you guys? So if you're feeling something that in a way that does not feel good for you and it's related to somebody else, then communicate that with them so you can get rid of the angst, that you can solve whatever the problem is. Communication is the key to everything. Business, relationships, husbands and wives, kids, relatives, people you work with, those of you in traditional employment with fellow employees. A lot of people will walk around with massive issues and never tell anybody what the issue is. So the angst and the stuff that goes on in your head just continues. Like, sometimes we just have to take a little bit more responsibility in what's going on in the way we feel and the way we react, and communicate that with people. So you can resolve whatever it is that's going on for you, whether that's your business, personal relationships, things like that. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to make you feel better. You've got to take responsibility for what you do, what you're feeling, and maybe your expectations and stuff like that. Maybe your expectations and somebody you work with, or an upline, or a husband and wife, maybe they don't meet. That's often a problem. So unless you communicate about that, how are you ever going to resolve that issue? So resolve a lot of your problems by communicating with people what it is that you're thinking, feeling, experiencing, having troubles with, and become a solution seeker rather than a victim. Okay? Oops. Does that make sense? I'm not sure who this is, but I'm just going to read it out. I work for a communications company 12 years now, and everyone is horrible at communication. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, especially at the upper management. It's very sad. They admit to it and they do nothing about it. That's the worst. If you can admit to it but not do anything about it, like if you know you're hanging on to an issue with somebody and you're not doing anything about it, then that's on you. If you've tried and they don't respond, well, then somehow you have to learn to let it go. So that's going to happen. Not everyone's going to want to communicate back. But if somebody's sitting in their struggle, but they haven't communicated with somebody else what the issue is, then that's on them. That's not on, you know, like if somebody's got an issue with me, but they don't tell me, then I can't resolve it or try to make it better. So you've got to give people the opportunity to resolve issues as well. Okay. Yes, Laurie Andrus, it's very sad and disappointing. So I work hard to stay in communication with everyone and I get in trouble for it, hoping to be out of there by December and working for me full time. They're lost my gain. I'm not sure who that is, whether that was the same person, but yeah, that is sad. And not everyone's going to want to communicate or resolve issues, but just stand in your own shoes and be the best person that you can be. If people don't want to communicate back, if people don't want to play the game, if people are going to ignore you, that's on them, not on you. Just be the best version of you. And if you know you've got angst with somebody or in your business or an upline or a mentor or things like that, then do your best to communicate that in an effective way. Don't hold on to things. It just causes you anxiety and stress, and things can be resolved a lot quicker when we communicate. And, you know, do you guys agree about kids growing up these age? I seriously wonder how people getting married in these younger generations moving forward, how they're ever going to resolve some of their issues, because they're all glued to technology. I'm a massive fan of social media and the convenience it gives us and the businesses that we can grow from it, but I am not a fan of kids getting on technology too early because they're not learning how to communicate. And it's one of life's skills that can help you resolve a lot of your problems, is when you talk. You know what they say, you know, a problem shared is a problem halved. You know, sometimes you just need to talk through something with somebody, or you've got some ideas, or you toss around some things and someone goes, yeah, thanks for letting me talk that through. That's got some clarity. Like, you ask some questions, you're stuck on something, you ask some questions, you talk it through. That's communication. Unless we do that constantly in business, in life, with our partners and stuff like that. And my husband and I have learned to do that, because what we both do, personally is when we both get really, really busy, we stop communicating. It's not that we love each other any less. We just get really, really busy and we just do, do our thing. And then suddenly, there's an issue that's blown up, and it's because you stopped communicating. So, and the problems that we used to have, like I used to get shitty at him for not doing things, but he would do it on his time, as long as I allowed him to do it in his time. So it was just my expectation that created an issue. But it wasn't really an issue because he would do it, just didn't do it on my time frame. So sometimes our expectations don't match with, the people around us. If it doesn't mean, like, one conversation can resolve that. It's just talking things through. Does that make sense? Hey, Margine, is it Margine? Is that how you pronounce it? You should be able to see me now. Just let StreamYard have access. Awesome. Thank you for doing that. It's always nicer to know who we're talking to. So yes, thank you. I can see you. Kids will probably text each other their I do's. Oh my gosh, you're probably right. It's terrible, isn't it? Hey Matthew, how are you? I tell all of my issues and people tell me no excuses, which then I push forward even harder and have even more conflict. I'm not playing the victim card. I do let things go. I reset and start again. There is only so much to start over. I tell all of my issues and people tell me no excuse. I'm not quite following what you're saying, Matthew, but I would imagine you're a good communicator. I mean, that's the point of this live, is just communicating, but communicating in an effective way that is, helping you to solve problems, not create more conflict or not play the victim, is really using communication in a way that solves problems for you, whether that be business or personal, those kind of things. Judy and Bob, we can relate to your communication with your husband. We have the same issue. Yeah, so we just have different expectations. But unless we talk about it, like husbands and wives is very, very important. Would you not agree? Partners, even friendships, so the communication is very, very important, but try to use it in an effective way, not in an ineffective way, and take responsibility for how you're feeling and your emotions, and just don't, I guess at the end of the day, don't expect that anybody knows what you're going through or what you're feeling or what you're experiencing. So you may need to communicate that to people to help them understand what it is that you're going through, because nobody's inside your head but you. So we need to take responsibility for that. But also, try to resolve our own issues through communication as well. So, how do you guys consider yourselves in communication? Like a good communicator, needs some work, or lacking in communication? I'm curious where you see yourselves, because I think it's always one of those things that we probably need to constantly work on. But it's honestly, if you're a bad communicator, then it might be or you just know yourself, you're not the best communicator. It might be something that you would like to try to improve, because the quality of your life will improve with that. Your relationships will improve. Any issues that you're having in your business will improve when you can communicate what's going on for you, what you think you need moving forward, really looking for solutions by communicating with the right people. So yeah, I hope that makes sense to you guys, because it's massive. Absolutely massive. So we can all probably do some work on, just our communication skills, or at least just have it in the forefront of your mind. Like if there's something going on for you, or maybe I could have a conversation with that person about it, or that's really troubling me, or perhaps I should have a conversation with them about that so I can let go of that. Because the last thing you want to do is hang on to stuff. Whereas you could have a simple conversation with somebody and go, hey, I was really upset with this or that and whatever. It's like, oh, really? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that, blah, blah, blah. Like things can be resolved so quickly with communication. So if you hang on to stuff, you've got to take responsibility for that and the angst that comes with it. So if it is to be, it's up to me. You know that saying, guys, our lives are our choices. So just be careful of your choices. Mary, lack and bad communicator. You know what I love about that, Mary, is your honesty. So if you know you're not the best communicator, at least you know what you need to work on. And when we realize things, we can do something about it. Whereas if you thought you're an awesome communicator and you're actually a really bad communicator, then there's probably something you can't resolve. But if you know you're not necessarily good at something, then you've got half a chance to improve it. So that's a good thing, Mary, and I'm proud of you for actually putting that there. Well done. Laurie, I do find until it means a possible confrontation probably come from my self-esteem status that day. And that's one of the major problems with it, Laurie, is most people don't like confrontation. And that's when I use the words effective communication. It comes in how you use your words. So it comes across in a way, you know, like, I know I'm probably being silly, but this is sort of what was going on for me. And I was just wondering if I could talk it through with you. So how you actually express and communicate can minimize the confrontation with somebody. If that gets somebody's back up and you've tried, at least you know you've tried and it's on that person and not you. Okay, so it's the way we handle the communication that can escalate that, or you're giving it your best shot. Not everyone's going to play along with you, that's for sure. Okay. We can't fix what we didn't acknowledge. Exactly, Crystal. Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, guys. So work on your communication. If you know you've got some skills lacking in that area, just bring it to the forefront of your mind and go, I can be a better communicator. And if you've got any issues, take responsibility for it and tell the people that matter in that equation so you can look for solutions and let go of issues rather than create them. Okay, but try to do it in an effective way, not in a way where you're playing the victim or you're placing blame or anything like that. So being an effective communicator, and always remember we have a responsibility for the younger generation. So whatever you can do to try to, educate how important communication is to the younger generation, I think we can all do our bit there, because it really, really concerns me, as I'm sure it does a lot of you. Linda, I had a bullying boss I had to address formally, and she didn't respond to any communication. This stopped it on the surface, but put a chip on their shoulder. I then turned my reactions to it around, which worked. She now treats well. It became a different form of communication. So yeah, sometimes you just have to work out what's the most effective way with particular human beings that you're dealing with, but at least you tried something different and it worked. Marcella, I'm not a good communicator if I know the other person is confrontational. So I shut down and say nothing. I had to walk out of a long-term relationship before it affected my health. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Marcella. And we have to deal with this communication, obviously, in certain ways as to who the other person might be. And sometimes you can try to be as effective as you can, and it just won't work. And if it doesn't, then there's tough decisions that need to be made, probably, because you can't put yourself in a situation with somebody that just can't communicate or resolve issues. It is not a healthy place to be. I guess the main thing with communication is in points of confrontation, if that's what you think it's going to escalate to, is never raise your voice or, try to be heightened in that situation. It's always try to deal with these situations really, really calmly. So, when we're heightened and have heightened reactions, we can say things that we don't mean to, and things can turn badly. So it's a matter of having a bit of forethought about your communication sometimes as well, because it doesn't matter what you do. Some people are just not going to be able to communicate effectively back at you, but you can take responsibility for what you do, and you can hold your head high knowing the best that you can do. Okay, so it's about choices and being responsible for our own lives at the end of the day. Okay. Margene, asking the person how they feel about the situation helps as well. We have a willing to listen to them. And that's half the battle, is lots of people want to talk, but they don't want to listen. If you can become a really good, communicator, you will learn to listen a lot. A really good communicator is somebody that actually can take in, even if you don't agree with what somebody says, you can say it in a way and communicate it in a way that makes the person feel understood. So it might be, okay, I hear you. I don't necessarily understand where you're coming from, but I respect that that's the way you feel, and blah, 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 blah. So how you handle it, your communication with the other person, and even if you really don't agree, you can say it in a way that the other person feels understood. And when you handle communication in that way, it can tend to at least keep the situation controlled instead of, escalating, as long as the other person feels like they've been heard. Jennifer King, hello, lovely. Taking the time to stop and think before react is so important. So important. That's when people get themselves into trouble. When your feelings are heightened and you're feeling a bit stressed, you suddenly blurt something out that you can't take back. And we certainly don't want to put ourselves in that position. So sometimes you just have to stop and really think about what it is that you're going to communicate back. Because once something out there, it doesn't matter what you say, sometimes you can't take it back. So yeah, really, really, really important. Yeah, Linda, and it's also validating their feelings. Like, everybody's got feelings, including you, but whoever you're communicating with, they need to know that they're being listened to as well. So we need to listen as much as we obviously communicate as well. Yes, practice the pause. The pause can be very important, sometimes. Heather, loads of value. Thank you. No worries. So just food for thought. Food for thought. It's a very important skill, not only in life and relationships and your kids and your husbands and your wives and all the rest of it, but very much so in business as well, particularly if you're struggling, your business is not where you want it to be. It's not sitting in that struggle. Who can you communicate with that can help you with that? What mentors are around you? What people are in the industry that you know that are further ahead than you that you can ask questions from and communicate effectively? Like, can I just pick your brain for a minute? This is what I've done. This is what I'm at. Here's what I'm thinking. What do you recommend? Not the words like, my business isn't working. I'm struggling. It doesn't work. I don't know what to do. So how we communicate and take responsibility for what's going on in our lives will get a very different direction. If somebody comes to me with that, and I know they've thought about what they're doing, what they've tried, and they come to me with some suggestions, and then I can give my opinion back, is very different from someone saying to me, this doesn't work. This is crap. I've been doing this for, 2 years. Nothing's working. That's not effective. It's really not effective to whinge and whine like that. So when you're dealing with mentors and uplines and people you work with and people, in your downline that you're mentoring, the way you communicate with people is everything. Everything. So just have a real good think about how you communicate with people. Do you really listen to people? Do you let people have their say, or is it all you do? Do you know some people that just all you hear is their voice? Like, you don't get a word in edgeways. That's one-way communication, which doesn't work sometimes. So yeah, anyway, Nan, thanks for this reminder. No worries. And that's why I do these videos. I only do them once a week, but just to get you thinking about something that can help you be a better person, and communication is definitely one of those things. So I hope that was helpful in some way, and I've talked long enough, so I'll get off now, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys same time tomorrow. And remember, the Boost Your Business Page Bootcamp starts tomorrow. So for the next 3 days, that's inside my coaching community. It's a very, very small investment to be in there, and you get access to all my other boot camps. So click the link above if you would like access to that. And video challenges, if people are still here with me at this stage of the video, I'm going over into the video challenge group now to do a live over there, because we are in the last few days of the 21-day video challenge. So we're just going to sort of wrap things up. So any of you in the video challenge, I might see you over there in a moment. The rest of you, I'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Okay, bye guys.